Greetings and aloha, what's going on? It's Mike from LiveMyAssOff.com. I'm having a gratitude attack, which I've come to realize is something that I enjoy sharing with you guys. And, or maybe it's not so much sharing, yeah, I guess it is sharing the gratitude attack, but it's also sort of sharing the justification for it too. So I'm in Chumpon, and I've come down to sort of one end of the beach. I mean, I can just keep walking. This is absolutely only child beach. And I'm about 3, maybe even less than that, kilometers from the Chumpon airport, which, as of today, will be referred to as Only Child Airport. I didn't take Only Child Airplane here, but I definitely landed at Only Child Airport. And we didn't take Only Child Van, but I do have Only Child Motorbike, which interestingly enough has enough room on the back for Gracie. Shocker. But so anyway, but I'm here at Only Child Beach, and as you guys know, I like that. It is so quiet here. So I thought I better ruin it by walking down the beach talking into my hand. This is exactly what I wanted. I envisioned this. I've seen a lot of videos about Cha'am that don't involve this. They involve the little town that Chumpon is. And I also realized that Chumpon is a is a province, much like Prachuap Khiri Khan, right? Or Bangkok, for that matter. It's a city, it's also a province. And main reason I booked a room at this hotel here, which is the Beach Resort and Residence, and I apologize for the wind, but the feeling of that wind is another justification for my gratitude attack. So if you want to experience this, it comes with a nice breeze. It's actually a pretty nice place. It's 3 stories. It's a cool little pagoda over there. And I believe that's what you call it, a pagoda. I'm not quite sure. Still learning the whole Buddhism thing, the whole ceremony thing. And this is what I wanted to do. I wanted to come to this beach because, as I mentioned to you guys before, I love Bangkok. And, I'm not a city guy, but I love Bangkok. And I'm also, keenly aware that Bangkok's a city. There's no beachfront property near the BTS. So, but again, one of the reasons that Gracie and I live there is that we can take a train, essentially, and then depending upon what airport we're going to, we take that train to either another train that goes right to the Suvarnabhumi airport, or we take a bus, which is what I did this morning, getting to Don Mueang airport and then coming down here to Chumpon. The plane left 30 minutes late, and which is not really relevant, quite frankly. It's just they just change gates, and we went to one gate, and then the people that were at that gate, they went to our gate, and it was a non-event. And so I was very pleased because, for the most part, AirAsia, I have very low expectations of them. My minimum expectation of any airline is that their plane will function perfectly. The mechanics that took care of it will be ideally overpaid and incredibly skilled, as will the pilots. That has been my experience 100% of the time taking AirAsia. My low expectation of them is that they will provide any degree of customer service via the website or via a human that I can talk to do anything. As far as I'm concerned, every reservation I make on AirAsia is non-refundable, non-changeable, and non-supportable. But, again, the plane gets me from point A to point B, And for a reasonable amount of money, approximately 500 baht, I can buy a seat that will be mine, that will have legroom, right? So I can either get the extra legroom seats, or I can buy the emergency exit row, which I do. And, you know, in contrast to Southwest Airlines, where I have to basically purchase a ticket that will allow me onto the plane before everybody else. And with that, then I will be able to claim one of the seats in the emergency exit row, ideally 12 Delta. But anyway, there's no guarantee for that. And the nice thing about getting an assigned seat, of course, there is a guarantee. And so I did that. I got 12 Charlie today. Row 12 and row 14 are basically the emergency exit rows, if you're not familiar with the seating arrangement in the majority of the Airbus 300 series. So this is kind of cool down there. And considering what's above me, here, hold on, can you guys see this? Here, let me tilt this, yeah. So for the most part, that's a dark cloud. I came from over there where it was light, where it was dark, actually. And it's no longer dark there. There was some spitting rain that was noticeable, but for the most part, it was, well, irrelevant. And actually kind of nice. It's sort of like cooling. Wow, I felt like I stepped in like a, it's like a, my foot just like went down like 3 inches there. I was like, oh my goodness, am I in a sand trap? Am I gonna not be able to hit bogey? And this is the reason why I bought the AirAsia Unlimited Pass, which, to be fair, I've mentioned this a couple of times. And naturally, some of you have said, well, tell me about this AirAsia Unlimited Pass, Mike. And let me just be clear that, unfortunately, the short answer is, while I will refer to it, it's not something you can buy right now. The deal is that you pay 3,000 baht, 2,999 baht. And with that, you basically get an unlimited amount of flights in Thailand. And the idea behind it was, hey, you know, we're going to do this to potentially boost Thai tourism. And so the actual real cost you pay for the ticket is approximately $5. It's the standard sort of, you know, taxes that you would pay on it, right? And I'm not real concerned about the rain that's hitting me right now, because I don't think it's going to last. It's going to come and go. Another piece of this gratitude attack involved the fact that so Dave, my buddy from the channel Got to Love Thailand, he found a van service and a motorbike rental company that was down basically in the town of Chumpon. Now, where we are right now, again, you know, if you were to look on a Google map of the Thai airport, of the Chumpon airport here in Thailand, and you were to go basically due east from there, you would end up on the beach that I'm on right now. And again, it's only like, you know, 2 or 3 kilometers. And if I had to walk it, it would basically be a big S. I couldn't, you know, do straight line. If I could walk through the woods, then yes. But to follow the little streets and that sort of thing to get me over here, it would have taken approximately an hour and a half to walk it. And I, you know, I had considered that when I first made this reservation. I'm like, okay, well, I'll make this, because I've never been to Chumpon and I didn't know what to expect. And so I thought, well, clearly the first thing I'm doing is getting to a beach. So I've done that. And but anyway, so he found this, but I wasn't really clear on where I could get motorbike rentals. Turns out the place here, the beach resort and residents, they can find a motorbike rental for you, 300 baht a day, which is very standard. And we also have a Honda Clicks that we got at this place called Fame, you know, trips and that sort of thing. FAME is the name of the tour company. And then one of those standard tour companies, and they have, like, you know, minivans at the airport that can pick you up, that can take you to your hotel, as well as take you to piers, and then from the piers you can get on boats and go to the various islands around here. And that is one of those scenarios where I am here at this beach, and I'm going to enjoy this, and I'm going to check out Chumpon. But it's one of those destinations where it's like, okay, I'm going to check out, like, how to, you know, go around here, where the cool places are, where the places that are undesirable would be. And then the island hopping, if you will, I'm going to reserve that for when Gracie can get over here and we can experience that for the first time together. I have this sort of paradigm that there's sort of two things that occur when I'm on these like mini vacations. And the first is to get to a beach like this and walk on it and exhale. And my shoulders drop, and because, I mean, even I'm not working, I mean, I'm still producing stuff. I mean, I have to do something, right? It's just that I'm not being, W-2'd as I was before in the United States. But nonetheless, I'm producing something, which, one of the things is these videos, but that doesn't add stress at all. All that does is really add joy, quite frankly. But there is some degree of sort of default stress that occurs, I would submit, in most big cities, and Bangkok is definitely not immune to that. Or I am not immune to the potential stress that is available to one who lives in Bangkok. And so, anyway, so I make these, purposeful trips to beaches like this so that I can exhale. The second thing I do is that I look for, places that I would want to go, but I sort of label a few, well, more than a few, as ones that will be on hold until Gracie gets here. Because she and I, when we first met, obviously she was, she could walk through Boracay blindfolded, in the sense that she had lived and worked there for years, like over a decade, I believe. But of course, Boracay was new to me, and so it was kind of neat, actually, that I experienced Boracay by myself the first time. But we've been back together, and so that was neat. So we were able to, she knew about it, it was my first time, then we experienced to get together. And then there are other scenarios where I've been before and she hasn't, and she comes and then she experiences it for the first time, but we're together. And then there are, I don't know if it's cooler, but sometimes I think it is, places where we both go for the first time and we both experience it for the first time together, and those are pretty darn neat. And so I'm seeking those out as I fly around the mighty kingdom of Thailand. Oh, if I didn't finish, so anyway, so that AirAsia Pass, it's valid from when it was available, which was basically, I think it was available from like July 25th to July 31st, you were able to buy it. And it is valid for flights up until, I believe, December 17th. And I believe I can make my last reservation basically 3 weeks before that, because you do need to do a 21-day advance purchase. Now again, I've mentioned before this phrase, which is I'm not rubbing this in your face. What I'm letting you know of is that was available. Sales like that, deals like that, promotions like that are available through AirAsia frequently. And this is only just the current one. And there's the We Travel Together website, right? Where if you're a Thai citizen, basically, and you have a Thai ID, you register, and therefore you get significant discounts and that sort of thing on air travel, as well as resorts, and you'll get reimbursed up to 3,000 baht per day, provided you stay somewhere that basically costs 6,000 baht a day, which is, I mean, if you're one of these people that wants to go to a resort and stay at the resort and stay in the room and then go to the pool, and then from the pool go back to your room, and then from the room get dressed up and go to the restaurant and then eat, and then after you're done with the restaurant go back to the room, well, then that's the resort for you. But that's not for me. My idea is I come to the room, make sure the air conditioning works, make sure it has a kettle, and that I have some 3-in-1s for the next morning. It has a refrigerator. I always turn the temperature down on the refrigerator. The majority of the ones I go to are set on 2. I usually set it to 6, maybe 5. And then I, make sure whatever water is sort of free, I make sure that's in the fridge. And then occasionally I'll make a 7-Eleven run and get, some water and that sort of thing, maybe a little pastry or something for the morning to have in my room. And then I find the nearest beach. So anyway, that was sort of part of the plan with this unlimited thing. I was like, okay, well, what I'm going to do is I'm going to really try and plan out 21 days in advance, knowing that I need to basically be about 21 days in advance, not 42 or 63 days in advance, because at any given moment, they could decide, well, you know what, even though we said there's going to be a state of emergency until October 31st, we realize that people are going to come to our country, this is Thailand I'm talking about, and they are going to come with the virus, or they're going to get the virus, or they're going to bring the virus here on the plane from some unsuspecting person. And it's just going to happen. And we have the medical staff for it, and we're going to let in a finite amount of people, blah, 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 blah. And they could announce that tomorrow. And if that's the case, then, Gracie's on her way, right? And we'll hang out in the condo for 2 weeks. We won't be able to get on a plane and go places in Thailand for 2 weeks, which is just fine with me. But eventually we will. So I have like this trip planned. I have another trip planned in about 2 weeks, next week, where I go down to Surat Thani, and then from there I go over to Koh Phangan. I experienced Koh Samui for the first time, but there's a ton of stuff I did not do in Koh Samui that Gracie and I are going to do. And the same thing will occur with Koh Phangan. So anyway, I have a motorbike. I'm here one night, and my gratitude attack, guys, honestly, it just kind of came over me because I got to here and I heard this. And I was able to go like this. So anyway, I wanted to share this. I hope wherever you're watching this, you're safe and happy. I hope you're able to pause potentially and be like, well, yeah, I'm not exactly where you are, Mike, but I'm grateful for all of these reasons, dude. Because don't forget, I'm not exactly where you are. And there's a high likelihood that where you are, there's gratitude available to you that I can't even imagine. So I know this is going to sound kind of flippant and silly, but I'm making the best of what I've got, Now, there's a part of my plan that has been architected to be able to get me here to enjoy this, okay? But, again, I want to let you guys know that when I, sort of say, if you're not living the dream, you're doing it wrong, well, yeah, that's a possibility, especially if you're incredibly unhappy. But, like Stephen Covey has said in the past, part of the 7 habits of highly effective people is the, at the end, is sharpening the saw, meaning you're like always learning, but the other one is carry your own weather. And believe me, that's even more important, I would submit, when I am in an environment where I'm just not comfortable. And trust me, I've been in environments that look spectacular like this, and I could take a picture and sell it to Hallmark, and they could put it on cards, and it could be the next best postcard. And I'm not enjoying myself. And so that's when I'm able to pause and realize, well, hey, I'm doing it wrong. I've done that enough to almost, not perfectly, but almost, at least 51% of the time, proactively plan something such that there's a high likelihood that I'm not going to be uncomfortable in my own skin, especially when I'm in a place that is arguably referred to as beautiful. Because, if I can't enjoy myself there, then I'm really doing something wrong. If I can't enjoy myself, if I'm like stuck in the middle of a snowstorm by myself and I only have like the one log left to put in the fire and I have no food, okay, there are environmental forces that are making my level of enjoyment, it's squelching it, okay, fine, but when I'm in places like this, I absolutely acknowledge it. And I thank the universe, Buddha, for allowing me this just enormous opportunity. Having a scenario in my life and an environment in my life that for a while there, I only watched it on YouTube videos, quite frankly. And I was like, oh, someday, But then I'm like, well, unless I plan, like someday is just going to be, it's never going to happen. And I didn't say this day, but I said, no. I'm going to line up the stuff so that if the opportunity presents itself, October of 2019, then I'm ready to go within about 30 to 45 days. And I can move to Thailand. And I can get a one-way ticket. And Gracie and I can begin our lives together. And we have. And that's another piece of the puzzle of the gratitude attack. But I have someone in my life that I lucked out in meeting, but because of the behaviors of both of us, we've kept the other one in this team, and so I'm very grateful for that too. So with all that said, that's my gratitude attack check-in for this afternoon, my friends, from Chumpon, Thailand. It's Mike's from livemyassoff.com saying, I hope you're living the dream. Because if you're not living the dream, then there's a high likelihood that you've never just gone somewhere that was totally your own and paused. And the only thing that you realized that happened that absolutely made your day was that you could pause and listen and go, talk to you soon. Ciao.